Now, when you log into your portal, you're going to land on a dashboard similar to this one right here. And at the top, you're going to notice 4 different cards that have 4 different data points. Now, this data here is reflective of the time period selected in the corner. So the default is last 30 days, but of course you can choose a different time period if you would like. So in the last 30 days, you can see that in this specific organization, there were 158 chat conversations. There were 7 total unique chat visitors. The average chat conversation lasted about 7 minutes and 23 seconds, and each conversation had about 6.8 messages. I'm going to expand on some of this here as we go, but you'll also notice there is a sparkline graphic here that kind of shows you the trend of the beginning of the period selected, the last 30 days, and the end of that period. So you can see obviously as the month went along, there were more conversations in this part of the month compared to later. This is fully captured in the analytics section where you can actually see the chart, see the spark graphic with the actual data points each day, how many conversations and things of that nature. And of course, we'll see that a little bit later. Obviously, if I choose a different time period, let's choose last 7 days, you can see that data adjusts, and you can see again, these spark line graphs will adjust to the time period selected there. So let's take a look at these top 4 data points in a little bit more detail, or well, I should say these top 3, because total chats is pretty self-explanatory. For the unique chat visitors, what we're doing is we're giving you an idea of how many unique individuals are starting these conversations during the time period selected. Now, obviously, this is a test account, so you're most likely, if you've got 158 conversations, you're probably going to have way more than 7 unique chat visitors. But the way we're calculating this is under the covers behind the scenes. When a visitor comes to your website, opens your chat widget, and starts having a conversation, the system detects the IP address that's being used. We do not expose that for data privacy purposes, but it's being used under the covers to be able to generate this data for you. And so how it works is if somebody has a conversation with your chatbot on your website, and then they leave, and then they come back later, as long as they didn't clear their history or their browsing history, their cookies, then the system realizes that is somebody who was here previously, and it does not count them as another user, because you don't want those numbers inflated. If the same person comes back and has 10 conversations, then that would obviously inflate the numbers and give you the feeling that you've got many more unique visitors than you really do have. Now, again, this is just an estimate, because if they have a conversation with the chatbot widget and then they clear their history or cookies and they come back the next time, then of course, just like with any other system, they will be treated as though they are a unique user. So it's just an estimate to give you an idea of, generally speaking, how many unique visitors are creating those conversations on your website. Now, the next data point here is your average chat duration. And so the system, for each individual conversation, it's tracking the start time of the conversation when the first message was sent and the last message sent. So obviously, when it comes to conversation, somebody could send a few messages and they could go away for 4 or 5 minutes looking at different things on your website, and then they could send another message. So keep that in mind. That the point isn't to give you the exact amount of time of how much is being communicated with regards to they literally were communicating with your live agents and your AI assistant for a full 7 minutes, 23 seconds. But it's just to give you a general idea. Obviously, the larger this number is, means the more engagement that you've got with your live chat and your AI assistant chat conversations. So again, just meant to give you a general idea of across all of the 158 chats in this example in the last 30 days, the average duration of those 158 were 7 minutes and 23 seconds per conversation. Now, the last data point over here, the average chat messages. This here is specifically visitor chat messages. So even if the AI assistant sends 5 messages, and let's say one of your agents takes over and sends another 4 or 5 messages, what this is going to give you is the number of actual visitor messages, which is very important. Again, it's kind of an engagement thing here. So obviously, the more messages sent by the visitor, the more effective your chat operations are. So that's what this does. Just like the duration metric over here, it's giving you the average number of messages per conversation out of that 158 over the past 30 days. Now these two bottom cards, they are not connected to the time selector at the top over here. The bottom left card is to show you the most recent 5 conversations that you've had on your website. And more specifically, it's going to show you the first message that the visitor sent to initiate the conversation. So you can kind of just look briefly down there, see what the message was. If you're interested in seeing the whole conversation, you can click on any one of these and it's going to take you straight to that conversation on the conversations page that we'll see a little bit later. And obviously this is all test data here. So first person said, anyone home? So that was the first message to initiate this conversation, and you can see it was 1 hour ago. And the older the message, the color is going to be different. So if you have messages, let's say from the day before or a few days before, it's going to be a different color. You can skip and go straight to the conversations page right here, or you can actually click conversations over here to go there as well. And that brings us over to chat topics. And so what's happening in the system is when visitors send messages, every 5 minutes the system takes those messages and it categorizes them. It puts them into a category. And the reason why it does this is because you obviously, especially if you're letting the AI assistant do the bulk of the work for you on your website, you obviously don't have time to sit there and watch every single conversation, read every single message from every single conversation. And so chat topic insights, this gives you the ability to be able to see individual messages categorized. So when we go to the analytics section a little bit later, you'll be able to see that you can actually go straight to pricing and quotes to that category. You can see all of the individual specific messages sent by the visitors that were categorized in that specific category. And then if you want to just click on it, then you can see the entire conversation. So you might see some interesting comments by the visitors. You might say, okay, well, that's interesting. I wonder how did the AI respond to that? Or I wonder how did my agent respond to that? This is kind of like just a quick path to be able to get to that information, see the whole conversation. That way you scroll through all the messages, and maybe if you don't find half of them interesting, then you can skip them without wasting time, but you can go in and see exactly what you want to see based upon the types of messages that are being sent. So it's really just meant to be able to give you the ability to see what's going on without having to see what's going on in real time. So this is always the last 30 days that it's going to show, just to kind of give you a visual representation of that classification process over the past 30 days. And then, of course, you can click View Insights right here to go straight to the analytics page, or you can go to the analytics section that we'll be going to next and find that data. And, of course, we'll talk a little bit more about that then. And, again, this is a test environment. So you'll notice here my top category was Other Chit Chat. And what that is it's, somebody says, hello, hi, how are you? Things that don't really fit anywhere, just kind of small talk types of things. Then that's going to be here. So my environment here probably has an abnormally large amount of chit chat just because of the nature of how I've been testing the system. Now, another thing you'll notice when you log into the platform is your navigation panel on the left side over here. And if you've already logged in before watching this video, you may be wondering why yours doesn't look like mine. And if you haven't found it yet, there is an expand collapse option right here at the top. So I prefer to keep mine collapsed, but as you can see here, when you have it in the expanded mode, which is the default, you'll have an online option, online-offline toggle for your agent. So that's to set your agent online or offline status. You've got your AI assistant toggle here, which allows you to disable or enable your AI assistant. And then, of course, you've got your sound option if you want to turn off the sound notifications. Now, one thing to remember for your chatbot widget on your website is if you have yourself turned to offline and your AI assistant disabled, then your chatbot widget will be in offline mode. If you have your agent online, it'll be in online mode. If you have your AI assistant online but yourself and all your agents are offline, then the widget will be in online mode. And then, of course, if any of your agents are online and your AI assistants are online, then, of course, your widget will be in online mode. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, but that's the way. That's what options you have up here at the top, and of course they look a little bit different if you collapse that. You've got your You can just click the little dot here to turn yourself online or offline. Click the little robot head here to disable or enable, and then of course your sound option right there.